ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner.
All right, here we are at the Speedway of Interlagos. We're heading around here. Down here out in the corner, down here across the bottom. I don't know if I have a track map for this track. We'll look here real fast. I'm trying to... Yes, I do. Great. Yeah, that'll help out tonight. All right, track map for Interlagos. I do have to get other track maps made up, but at least tonight I do have one. And if I might not be able to say the corner, but at least I got corner numbers here for us. We'll get them settled on down in here. As you're watching there, Travis Roberto coming there around during qualifying. About 40 seconds to go in qualifying as they all head out here. Hopefully everybody hears me okay. I can't seem to get my stream to log in the way I need it to. Here on my phone. Something just not wanting to add up here. Try about it a different way. We're trying to get this up and running. And I'm not seeing where I'm live. So hopefully this is live where it's supposed to be. I don't know if it's screwed up or not. Hopefully not. Everything looked okay here as we head down here. There you see Mark Nelson coming there off of corner number 12, heading through 13, heading up here to 14 and through 15, back down across the stripe towards corner number 1. Bring it on down here. There you see, this is Interlagos here tonight. Probably should have our tower on here. There we go. Oh. Qualifying has ended. We're getting ready for the start here. Hopefully I have that in the right position for the start lights. We'll see. And here comes your start, or I'm sorry, your warm-ups are taking place right now. 5 minutes of warm-ups. These drivers going out, getting the last minute. The last minute look at the track. Head on down through here into corner number 4. There, looking there, Jet Carterman in at number 7. This is looking like a very technical racetrack here tonight. I see we're getting subscribers here, or getting viewers here, so hopefully it is starting to work. That one's shut down, so that means that this other one has to be live. And it's not doing so. Okay. YouTube on my end not being the nicest thing, but hopefully everybody can hear me okay. If you can't, let me, well, if you can't, you're not going to be able to let me know. So it looks like it is working. As it is under that name. Working down here into the corner. Hopefully everybody's hearing me. Yep, alright, so it is working. If at any point throughout the broadcast you don't hear me, please let me know in the chat. My way of making sure of it is not working here tonight for this broadcast. It worked earlier tonight, but apparently decided to go invisible here. Now you're looking at Dan Brassington. Jake Matsko there in the number 26 Ford. He's up there about, I haven't laid down a time yet as he's here coming in the pit road. Or coming off a pit road rather. Right there behind him is the 86, Mark Nelson. Matsko seems like he's struggling here in a couple of corners. Hopefully he can get that dialed in here. Now he has a slowdown. And we see here we got Gene McClellan. Now there they go. 15 seconds of warm-ups left. Now they head on out here. Looking down there, you're looking at number 29. Coming up here through turn 14. And 15 coming down towards the stripe. Qualifying has ended. Here is your starting grid. When it comes up here. McClellan as your race leader. Travis Roberto there second. Mark Nelson third. Jed Cotterman there fourth. Kurt Bassler there fifth. Brian Scott in sixth. Robert Milbrad there seventh. Aikman there in eighth. Chase Matsko rolls off tonight in ninth. Justin Welsh in 10th. Matt Mars 11th. Ron Matthews there in 12th. In 13th tonight is going to be Jody Nielsen there in 13th. Brian Peters 14th. Jay Davis there in 15th. Diane Brassington there at 16th. Michael Lamentz there in 17th. And David Duncan there in 18th. And I'm so sorry. I thought this was switched. There we go. It should be all set to go now. They roll off. I worked down here through turn 15. Or 14 and then 15. Down here across the start. And they're down and away. Down here in the corner, number 1, they'll go. And here, Pate's car rolls off. Barney had the green flag out. Down here, green flag underway. Down here in the corner number 1 they go. Now they head on storming down here in the corner number 1. Down here around it. Down towards corner number 2. Now they head there in the corner number 3. Travis Berto getting a great run there on the outside. Great mix of driver. Pollard all of a sudden having issues here. He's turned around. Matthews off track. Now here's Dean Nelson. Milbrad. Down here off the back. And up here through up through 8. Down here into 9. Drivers really gotta be on their toes tonight. Now they head off down here, out up turn 10, down here into 11. Nelson trying to battle there with Davis. And gets that spot. As they headed on down out here. Up through 15 here in the 1. And Nelson picks up a spot over top of Duncan. Jody trying to move his way up through. And they head off the corner there down the back, or down the straightaway. And of course that disappears on me again. All right here. We got them coming through here. I know we lost the SDK for a quick moment. It's giving me issues here tonight. They come down here through the next corner. We head on down here in corner number 6, I believe. No, that's corner number 4, sorry. Up here to 5. Then Gene McLuhan there in a second. In that 914. Out here, up through, off up 12, up through 13. Back down across the stripe, Travis Roberto out front. We got the 7 of Jed Gotterman there in 3rd. Kurt Battler there 4th. Chase Matsko sitting there 5th. To work up back up here around 7, 8, and 9. Kind of looks like we're splitting off into like 3 groups at the moment. Got 18 drivers here tonight in the GT3s. David Duncan back here in about 12. Dan Bradley and Dave Davis back here in 14th. Ron Matthews. Robert Milbrad here in 6th, right there behind Chase Matsko. Mark Nelson a little farther back here tonight than what we normally see him as well. He's back here in 9th. So it's always interesting. Some drivers have a little bit better time at certain racetracks than they do others. So that could be to blame here. Matsko and Nelson are back towards the back. Roberto, though, out there in front. Gene McLuhan there in second. Davis has crashed. Maybe we can find out what happened to Davis. He's way back here now. Just come out of 3. He's all by himself. He's got some ground to make up out front. Travis Roberto. Jade McLuhan there in second. Jed Cotterman there third. Kurt Bassler there in fourth. Chase Matsko there fifth. Brian Scott sixth. With Robert Milbrath in seventh. Mark Nelson there eighth. Jody Nielsen there in ninth. And Matt Mars in 10th. Heading down here. Out of the corner, number 15. Back across the stripe they go. Now, driver doing everything possible to keep their car on track. We're 8 minutes in here of the 45-minute race. Hey, driver hanging it out here. There you watch the 028 of Travis Roberto hanging out there. Gene McLean there in second. Jed Cotterman there third. Kurt Bassler there fourth. Brian Scott fifth. Chase Matsko sixth. Robert Milbrath there 7th, Mark Nelson there 8th, Jody Nielsen there in 9th, Matt Mars there in 10th, Ryan Peters in 11th, David Duncan there in 12th, Dan Brazigan there 13th, Ron Matthews there 14th, Justin Welsh in 15th, Aikman Pollard there in 16th, Michael Leminsk there in 17th. Handling down through here. Jed Cotterman there in third, Kurt Bassler there fourth, Brian Scott there fifth, Chase Matsko there sixth, Robert Milbrath there 7th, Mark Nelson 8th, Jody Nielsen there 9th, Matt Mars in 10th as they keep rolling it on down through here. Steve McLean, Jed Cotterman, Kurt Bassler, Brad Scott, Chase Matsko here in 6th, Robert Milbrath 7th as they're rolling on down here. Through off up corner number 2. They head down that backstretch. Matsko with a slowdown. That's what that yellow flag is there on the scoreboard. That is a slowdown for Chase Matsko. Has some damage into the front end of that machine, so he's gone into a wall somewhere, got into the back of somebody. Now they head down here off the corner, down here off. Up here through in the corner number 6 and 7. Matsko got that cleared. Going to the inside of him, though, is about a 45 of Robert Milbrath. He tried to gain some ground. Jed Cotterman up there in 3rd. Gene McLuhan there in 2nd. Roberto there out front. They are really trying to put on the best show they can here. Minutes in as they head down here into the corner. They're using every bit of the racetrack they can with the possibility. You don't want to go and hit the grass too much. You don't want that slowdown. And here, off down here into the next corner, which would be corner number 3 for Robert Milbrath. No, they're heading through turn 4 and 5, sorry. Milbrath, Nelson, they're all heading up here through turn 5. There you see Justin Welsh as he's getting there to the inside. Has company there to the inside. And you see Ron Matthews end up off track a little bit there. Welsh at 67 gets there in the 15th. Looks like Pollard in the 025 got up there to 14th. And work down here through the back section of the racetrack here, and lap number 10 down there through 12. And Milbrath and Matsko try to battle it out. And you see Nelson there as well. they're turning both left and right, both Parson. I kind of had a request, Parson. I don't know if you'd agree with it, but just for fun, next season, taking the, I forget which road course it was, but there was a section that was an oval, high banked oval. I wouldn't mind seeing you guys race that in reverse so that you'd be turning right. Instead of left, you'd be making right turns instead of 2 left turns. I think that'd be interesting, watching you got oval guys that used to turn left, make you turn right for once. Nothing like a road course, it'd still be an oval. And they head down here out of turn number 10 once again, down through 11. You're watching that 45 as he's coming through 10. That is Robert Milbrath. Nelson there up in 8. As I said, usually I'm used to seeing Nelson and Matsko up farther, as normally you see them up there towards, let's see here, see if I can find last week's winners. Yeah, see, last week's podium had Brian Scott, Mark Nelson, and Chase Matsko all up there. And I don't see Brian Scott is in 5th this week here in the McLaren. They got Chase Matsko right behind him, and then Nelson behind that. Jed Carterman up there in the top 3 this week like it was a couple weeks ago. Right here, Michael Laments getting the 924. There's Robert Milbrath. And guys really trying to hang on to what they can here, heading up here through turn number 8. Down here through off the corner, heading down the corner number 12. Milbrath blinked out there for a moment. There comes Nelson looking to see if he can get to the inside there. Cannot quite get there. As they work off. Definitely going to be interesting to see who I was thinking it was Monza too, but I just couldn't remember. Now they head on down here through the start-finish line, down here towards corner number 1. There you see Matsko trying to hang on to 6, but the 45 Milbrath all over him. As you see Nelson all over the back of Milbrath. Matt Mars back here in the 34. Mellow yellow McLaren. We've got the Ferrari of Nielsen back here. Got a good amount of Fords, McLarens We got one Chevrolet out here, two Chevrolets that I can see. Davis and Duncan have them. And see, there's one. That is Duncan. Davis back here toward the back in his Corvette. Got a couple Porsches out here. You got Matthews and Nelson, Bassler, and McLuhan. They're all in Porsches. We got one BMW out there, and that's driven by Robert Milbrath. That's all the makes we have out here right now. And just something for the future as we would head into future seasons. There, if I was reading updates okay, and I could be wrong on it, but if I was reading updates okay, I think we're in for yet another make into these GT3 cars. And I believe, if I saw correctly, it'd be Aston Martin. If I saw correctly. Now, I could be wrong on that, but that could be a new car for people to drive and test out, would be that Aston Martin. They head down here through the bottom side of the racetrack or race map as they head down here into corner number 4. Roberto still out front in that 028. McLuhan there in second. Cotterman here in third. Really had to slow down there for some of these corners. I think that's part of, well, I was going to say, I wonder if that was a fourth thing, but Roberto's got the board and he's leading right now. Bassler back here in fourth. They head down here in the corner number 8, 9, and 10. There you see Cotterman coming down there off of turn number 15, heading back to the start-finish line. Brian Scott back here in fifth. Milbrath back here in seventh. Has company there from Nelson, possibly, as they head down here in the corner number 1. Trying to keep track of where the biggest battles are. Ryan Peters trying to get up here to battle with Brassington. And right behind him is Pollard. Pollard had a little bit of an issue early on in the race, but got it collected back together and is running up here in 13th now. Jay Davis way back here after problems. I see Matt Mars there coming off corner number 9. Milbrath here in 7, 18 Nelson in 8. Brassington in 11, Peters there in 12, Aikman in 13. Head off here into the corner. But I mean, Parson, I mean, truthfully, I could care less if it was Monza. I would just like to see you guys do a reverse oval. Just to change things up on the oval side just a little bit. Make things a little bit more interesting. Just 1, maybe 2 weeks out of the season, switch it to a reverse oval. Matt Mars coming there in 9th. Jody Nielsen there in 10th. Brassington there in 11th. Gene McFluin there in 2nd. Now we're coming up here. Lap 15 here with 21:52. Ryan Peters there in 12th. Aikman there 13th. Justin Welsh there 14th. As they headed on down here. I'm going to see here if I can change something real fast here. I don't know if I can or not. We're going to find out. Big block of things to mess with. There we go. That's what I was wanting to do. I see him coming down here out of the corner. You got Travis Roberto followed by Gene McLuhan. Jed Carterman back here coming off the final corner. There you see Matt Mars Pollard up to 9th after struggling here early. Jed Carterman there in 3rd. Kurt Bassler there 4th. Brian Scott 5th. Jake Matsko there 6th. Jody Nielsen there in 7th. Aikman there in 9th. Brassington, first one on the pit road here tonight. Well, I should say that. Looks like Nelson come in, Milbrath come in, Peters come in. So, Nelson, as what we said, he made a pit stop. Milbrath, he's made a pit stop. Same with Peters. Things heating up here. Figure out who's going to be out front here. Charles Berto works out of turn number 4. Sorry, not turn number 4, turn number 14. Down here through 15. And then back across the stripe. Here comes The 45 down through turn number 9. No, I'm sorry, 7, 8, then 9. As he caught him in, and Scott is on pit road. He's going to get servicing done. And one thing I've heard quite a few of these GT3 guys here at FMA talk about is, yes, they got to stop for fuel. But what they don't want to do, they want to make sure that they have it set and the crew understands they don't want tires. They just want fuel. Taking tires slows the pit stop down. So they want to come in, get fuel, and get back out there. Here they come down here through into the corner. They work on down here. Ron Matthews has crashed. As there you see him sideways trying to come into the pits. Right behind him. There's Chase Matsko in. There's Jody Nielsen in. Mel Brad, there's Roberto. They're in third now. He's made his stop. And as you see there, that is the going to soon to be the lap down machine of that 654 of Ron Matthews. And Matsko loses it coming. Well, that was an interesting exit to pit road there, Nelson, Matsko. You want to save those stunts for after the race. And there Matsko lost it coming there into corner number 1. Or I'm sorry, no, that's turn number 4. Pit road don't bring them out until turn number 3. Now working down here, there you see Duncan. Got McLuhan there out front. Bassler second. Neither one of those guys have pitted. Aikman now coming in. Matt Mars has not pitted yet. Neither has John Wells. Matsko has a black flag to clear. Roberto down here into the corner. Just out of curiosity, what's the off tracks look like here tonight? Ooh, McLuhan there with 15. You got Carterman with 14. Matsko with 18. Davis with 12. Matthews with 10. Brasington with 11. I think that says something there about this track. This is not an easy track here tonight. Hey, driver, do everything they can to head on out. Down here in the corner, back up here to 14. into 15 before heading back out there. We're at under 15 minutes to go here in the Freedom Motorsport Alliance Regal Wrapz and Designs GT3 Road Series here this Monday evening. And they all head on down here out of the corner. Let's see here. Can we get with this? See if we can get. So here is your GT3 points. As it stands right now, Mark Nelson leads at J. Davis second, Chase Matsko third. And I think all three of those drivers have struggled here tonight at Interlagos. And they head on down out of here. They're looking there down in the corner. Number 3 and 4. Well, I'm sorry, no, these drivers here. You're looking there at the 7 of Carterman. He worked down there out of 10, down to the inside there, getting around Matthews. Chase Matsko in the pits, as we said, black flag. Not sure if his night's done or not, but you see the off tracks there tonight. Way up than normal. Hey, driver, Jody Nielsen has crashed. Not sure if that was in pit road. Nope, down there. Off of turn, let's see here, 56. That's off of turn 4. Turn 4 heading up into 5. We've seen a few drivers have a problem with that. McLuhan has everybody's made their pit stop, so we're here to the finish now. McLuhan is out front. There you see Roberto there in second. So McLuhan making a flawless pit stop. Get down and out up there at the front. As Roberto's trying to chase him down. I think Matsko's night is done, unfortunately. They bring it on off. There you see Kurt Bassler there in 4th. Brian Scott there 5th. Mark Nelson back here in 6th. Robert Milbrat there in 7th. Aikman there in 8th. Matt Mars here 9th. Dan Brasington back here in 10th. Ryan Peters in 11th. Justin Welsh there in 12th. Michael Laments there in 13th. Jody Nielsen there in 14th. David Duncan there 15th. Davis here 16th with Ron Matthews back here in 17th. Heading off here, there you see Travis Roberto there in 2nd. As they head off here, off of 14 up here in the 15th. Heading back here towards the front stretch to get across that stripe. McLuhan, a great run here so far tonight. There you see Carterman coming down there through that final corner. Bassler as well with Brian Scott. They bring it out on there, out onto the front stretch, coming there to the flag. And they worked out, oh man, some of these guys cut it real close there against that pit wall coming down there across the line. You see Roberto coming down through there. There you see Aikman Pollard there in 8th. Matt Mars here in 9th. Brasington there in 10th. Ryan Peters there in 11th. Justin Welsh back here in 12th. Matsko not having a night he really needed in the points. Dave was also struggling here, not in the points where he doesn't want to be. He's back here in 16th right now. And your leader, Nelson, up here in 6th. They roll on through off of the corners. McLuhan up here leading the way here with under 10 minutes to go. Trevor Roberto there 2nd. Jed Carterman there in 3rd. Kurt Bassler there 4th. Brian Scott 5th. Mark Nelson there 6th. Robert Milbrass 7th. Aikman there in 8th. Mars 9th. Brasington there in 10th as they head down here into the next corner. As you see McLaren there, McLuhan coming across the line down there in through. As we're watching here, trying to find the best group of racing. Brasington out of Woodleaf, North Carolina, coming down there through off of corner number, let's see here, Matthews now with a black flag. So at 6:54, Matthews coming on to pit road. They're here watching Matt Mars coming through corner number 10. I'm sorry, no, corner number 12. Up through 13, heading towards 14. Justin Welsh has crashed. So my scoreboard says. Seems to be okay at the moment. Matthews left pit lane. Still lap down, but has come out. Now he works there through turn 5. McLuhan up here in front, leading the way. Roberto there in second. There you see Cotterman in third. Bassler there in fourth. Brian Scott fifth. Mark Nelson sixth. Milbrat there seventh. Aikman there eighth. Matt Mars in ninth. Dan Brasington there in 10th as they roll on down through here. There you see Justin Welsh working off the corner. Down here into the next one. Off a corner. The number 14 comes at 396. Bassler coming back across the line. And I do think Matsko's saying his night's done. They got McLuhan out there running in front. 5 laps down for Matsko. He's not going to make any ground up, so might as well just kind of do damage control there on pit road and sit on top of the box and watch the cameras. There you have a teammate, maybe cheer on a teammate. It's about the best his night's going to do now. There's Cotterman coming down there in the corner number 6 and 7, up there through 8. Brian Scott there in 5th. Nelson here in 6th. Nelson, usually we see him at the top of the leaderboard. Here tonight, sitting in about 6th. So top technical track for these drivers tonight as they head on down around Interlagos for the FMA Regal Wrapz and Designs GT3 Road Series here tonight. Now we see Nelson coming there off of corner number 11, coming down there to 12. They're all spread out. Dan Brasington and Matt Mars being the closest to maybe battle. Matt Mars ended up off track. These drivers really hang on to what they can. As I said, the drivers didn't take tires. Or normally they don't, put it that way. Normally they don't take tires. So I wonder if here towards the end of the run, as we're coming up to 5 minutes to go, if they're having issues with grip, are they having to back up their entries, kind of slow it down farther than what they were at the beginning of the race? But I'm not really seeing that too much, as, you know, McLuhan, his best lap was a 1:32.40, and his last lap was a 1:32.99, so not too far off. Same with Roberto. Roberto's not too far off on his lap times either. And his best time was a 1:32.46. His last lap time was a 1:32.56. So definitely they have similar lap times up here at the front between the top 3 drivers, all running right there about the same lap times. Just unfortunate they're not close enough to battle. Off the corner they go, down here into the next one. You see the 86 there. Up Mark Nelson, working there off of the corner. Heading down here into corner number 4. A driver doing everything again. There comes Cotterman up there in 3rd. Bassler there for it. Brian Scott in 5th. Dave McLuhan out there in front. Travis Roberto there second. Chet Cotterman, 3 minutes to go now. Three minutes of driving to go. Roberto off track. Way off track. So unsure what happened there to him. We're going to take a look at it here. He lost it coming down there into the corner. Ends up off track. Had to bring him back on. Hopefully he can keep a 2nd place going there. That's going to put some distance between him and McLuhan now. About 10 seconds. Jed Cotterman back here in 3rd. Not too far off of him. About maybe 3 seconds or 2.5 seconds off of Roberto. McLuhan put Davis a lap down. There you see Brian Scott in 5th. 2 minutes to go. And the 914 here comes up through turn number 10. Working down there off of corner number 10 down here to 11. As they make that left-hand turn, you see McLuhan there in that rough Porsche. Coming down there through the final corners of the circuit. With 1 minute 30 as your lap time, we might have 2 laps to go, is what I'm looking at. Possibly 2 laps to go. Here's a head on across the stripe. Ooh, no, white flag. This is the last lap. Gene McLuhan has taken the flag. Here you see, here comes Roberto. As you see, Barney's down there waving the white flag as the drivers come by. Up off the corner. There you see, Barney's got that white flag in the air, waving it as these drivers come by. Waiting here for McLuhan to come back by. Aikman back here in 8th. Great job by him to salvage what a bad start he had on the day. Ended up falling back and now has come back up through. Dan Brasingen there in 9th. Roberto, as we said, 2nd after going off track there. Race has ended. Now we're just waiting for them to come across the line. Now we see McLuhan there coming off down here around corner number 12. Up here in the corner number 13 and 14. As they head off here. Great job here by McLuhan. Played the pitch strategy right. He gets the win here tonight. So a win on the board there for McLuhan. Roberto coming down there across. He's going to grab his checker flag now. And here comes Cotterman. He's going to grab his. Bassler coming across. Jeff Scott coming up here across. There's Nielsen. Back here in 6th. Milbrat back here 7th. Aikman back here in 8th. Brasington here 9th. Matt Mars in 10th. So great job by these drivers. McLuhan grabbing the win here tonight. Cotterman getting 3rd. Everybody's coming across. Looks like everybody has. Here is your finishing order here tonight for the FMA Regal Wrapz and Designs GT3 Series. Gene McLuhan out there getting the win. Trevor Roberto there second. Jed Cotterman there third. Kurt Bassler fourth. Brian Scott fifth. Mark Delson there sixth. Roberto Milbrath there in Robert Milbrath there in seventh. Aikman Pollard there eighth. Dan Brownington ninth. Matt Mars 10th. Ryan Peters there 11th. Justin Welsh there 12th. Jody Nilsson there in 13th. David Duncan 14th. Michael Lements there in 15th. Jay Davis 16th. Ron Matthews there in 17th. Chase Matsko, unfortunately not tonight. He won and finishes tonight in 18th. Get here with our thing here. All right, well, we got our third place winner here, Jed Cotterman. How's it going?
It's going, man. It's going good. Very, very surprised with my performance tonight, if you want me to be honest.
You didn't think you quite had a third place car tonight?
You know, in practice and qualifying, I was, fifth or sixth overall. I just got a good start. I was able to keep up with the front two guys for, 6 or 7 laps, and then they just started pulling away, and I just tried to be consistent, and it paid off.
Yeah, it definitely paid off for you. And one of the biggest things I noticed tonight, a lot of drivers had problems with off tracks. Did you have issues with that yourself?
Only towards the end when I started pushing a little bit to try to bridge a gap, but it just wasn't happening. The tires were hot. They were cooked. They wore out. So I had to back up my corners a little bit, and I think I finished with 6 or 7 incidents. So it wasn't terrible over 45 minutes, especially here, but.
Yeah, that's what I'm noticing is here seems to be a very technical driver track, to say the least.
Yeah, it's just very hard to be consistent here with all of the little S turns and just a couple blind turns, if you will. So it's actually turned into be one of my probably top 5 favorite tracks.
I mean, it's probably one that's really fun to race. Just unfortunately, it's one that can also kind of carve a driver up. Also,
yeah, if it's very easy to overdrive the cars here. I was actually watching Travis in practice, and I just kept thinking to myself, man, it looks like he's going so slow. But then he'd be 6 or 7 tenths faster, and I'm like, geez, am I overdriving the car that much? So I tried to duplicate, his shifting and his shift points and everything else, but he's just in another league ahead of me. I couldn't do it, so I just decided to run my own race, be consistent, and avoid the spin, and that's what we did.
well, you did a great job. You got sponsor shout-outs. Anybody you want to thank for getting that third place tonight?
Man, I really don't. Unfortunately, I'd love to say I got a couple sponsors. I'm just not to that level yet. But I'd love to thank all the admins and everybody in the league. Everybody is super, super clean. I've got 0 complaints from myself regarding any of the other drivers, and you for putting on the broadcast. I'm gonna watch it in the morning when I get back to work and try to learn what I can and move on to the next one.
Alrighty, well, congrats on third place, and hopefully you can carry some of this over into next week. I know this was a very, very tough track tonight.
Yeah, you either love it or you hate it, and it's one of those that I'm more on the loving side. But what's next week? Do you know off the top of your head?
Next week's track, if I'm looking at the schedule correctly, should be Sebring for the final race of the season.
Oh, that's my jam. Okay, love me some Sebring. That's my home track.
Well, good luck to you next week as you get set and ready to rock and roll with that one.
Yep, we'll see you next week. Thanks, bud.
Alrighty. That was Jed Carterman, our third place driver. And seeing if we got Travis. Roberto, I'm not seeing Travis. So we'll get with Gene McLuhan. Good evening, Gene. How's it going? McLuhan, you there? Yeah, McLuhan, you might have to unmute yourself and use your push to talk if you have that set up. Waiting on McLuhan to see if he shows up or not. Having some mic issues there with McLuhan. So, congrats either way. Unfortunately, it does not look like we're going to get an interview with McLuhan. But great job there tonight. Getting that win, getting that pit stop strategy the way he needed to get that win out there ahead of Travis Roberto. Tough competition again here at at Freedom Motorsport Alliance. We've seen it day in, day out here on Sunday nights, Monday nights here on the GT3s and on the Gen 4. Very stiff competition, tough competition here at Freedom Motorsport Alliance. So can't wait to see what next week has in store for the GT3s. That is the championship night. We also have the Gen 4 is coming up here in a couple days here on Wednesday. So that should be another great race. We head to, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, I think we're going to Kansas that night. If I remember correctly. Yes, we're going to Kansas. So that should be a fun race there. So thank you all for watching. We'll go and catch you later. Again, here at Fleeger Farm TV. If you want to support the channel in any way, there's definitely things you can do down there in the description. There's the links to different leagues that we broadcast down there as well. Thanks again for watching. Have a great night.